Hi, aloha mai kako. Aloha. I hear all of you saying aloha to me. Aloha. O kauila ke ali'i kanaka ole o haililani ko uinoa. No hilo mai au o ku'u ahupua'a o wai a kea. O mauna aloha o mauna awakea. Ku'u mauna. Welcome to the Tiny Kuahu series, session 3, featuring our presenter Kainani Kahaunaele. The word Tiny Kuahu actually stems from a really fun NPR show, which is actually called Tiny Desk Concerts. But you know, for copyright reasons, we say Tiny Kuahu because the Kuahu to me has a more prolific effect. It can be yourself, the Kuahu can be your laka, or the Kuahu can be the Vaukele, the forest. And without the forest, no more us. Without the forest, no more vai, no more vai, no more life. So there's my prolific words of the night. I go let the artisans introduce themselves. Mahalo.
Hi, aloha mai kako. Mahalo nui e kauila ke ia kona ana mai ia'u e noho i ke alo laka. Ma ke kuahu e ho'opuka ai ko'u mau mana'o no ke ia mea o ke ola pono. Aloha kako o wau o Kainani Kahaunaele. O wai ale ale a me mauna kea ko'u mau mauna. O kalihi wai ko'u kai. O wai naku ko'u ahupua'a. A o wai loa ko'u wai. He meni au, he wahine e noke mau ana i ka ike o nā kupuna mau ke mele. O ke eia ka lā a'u e ho'opuka ana i ko'u mau mele me ka ho'opili ana i ke ia mea o ke ola. Oia na ho'i ke kumu a ka koe a koko mai nei. No ke ola o kana hele, no ke ola o ka aina, no ke ola o ke kanaka, no ke ola o ka no'ono'o, no ko kākou mauli ola. No ka mea o ka mana'o i puana mau ia e nā kupuna o i ho'i, ola nā kini, o ke ola ka mea nui. Mahalo. Aloha Emma.
Hola.
Aloha. My name is Emma. I'm from Hilo, born and raised. Full-time mommy, part-time musician, and yeah, that's it pretty much. It's a hard act to follow.
Mahalo nui Emma.
Thank you.
So for those of you, if this is your first time to a Tiny Kuahu session, the concept was when this first kind of came into fruition, the intent was to find poe pili and to find those familiar people that I've spent most of my life with. So the progression of my life, she has seen throughout. And a lot of what the Tiny Kuahu is about, if you don't know, that's the laka. The laka for poe hula, like myself, this is where we get our inspiration from. But also her main function in environment is the perspiration from the Vaukele. So think about the Vaukele. If no more the Vaukele, no more the laka. If no more the laka, no more the ao. If no more the ao, no more the vai. Okay, so let's think about it in a cyclical sense. Work.
When I came into Kalumi Pahia here, the first thing I thought was, mahalo for making the forest come alive over here. It's definitely an inspiring space. And, seeing all the kino lau, all the manifestations of our akua is truly inspiring. That's what we're here for today. One of my vehicles to share inspiration is through mele and through singing. And I'd like to open with this song that I've been singing for a long time. And it's about a place on Kauai. And it's a song written by Carlos Andrade called Limahuli. And if you listen carefully, is one of the hook lines of this song. if you listen carefully, if you look carefully, if you pay attention to the relations between the natural elements, between the kanaka and the aina, between personal relationships and spirit, I think it's captured beautifully in this mele. So I'll sing this song Limahuli, and it'll serve as my opening inspirational piece. And if you listen carefully, I'll fill your ears till they overflow, until they overflow. Limahuli, rushing stream, how many songs can you sing? I can sing you songs about the rain and the waterfalls, silent pools, lauhala trees, bamboo standing tall. And if you listen carefully, I'll fill your ears till they overflow, until they overflow. Limahuli, mountains standing over me, how many stories can you tell? I can tell you stories about the people of this land who tilled the earth and fished from the sea and played along the sand. And if you listen carefully, I'll fill your mind till they overflow, until they overflow. Limahuli, white birds flying high and free, tell me what can you see? I can see the wind flowing out across the waves, misty clouds, lehua blossoms, ancient hidden caves. And if you watch very carefully, I'll fill your eyes till they overflow, until they overflow. Limahuli, Limahuli,
Gee.
Limahuli, an ahupua'a, an intact ahupua'a in Halele'a, Kauai. Mahalo.
Mahalo, eo Limahuli. So, tell us, how come that was your opening?
I love the imagery of that song. I've been to Limahuli. It's a very beautiful place with lots of abundance of vai, steep cliffs, lots of ai planted throughout, and it also connects to the kai as well, one of the most beautiful sections of Kauai, sometimes a little too beautiful because lots of people want to go live over there.
Oh.
But it is truly inspirational. I think part of being inside the mele is experiencing those places that we chant about, we sing about. And so I love the poetry of that song as well.
What does self-care look like to you? How does it affect you, and how does it feel, and what is the result?
Well, I'm in my mid-40s now, and I think I learned this word in my 40s. As a 20-something, life is carefree, you hit it, you earn that scholarship money, you travel all over the place, get good grades, but in the 30s, I started to have a family, so I was still very mobile, but, adding tremendously more kuleana, yeah. And then now in my 40s, I'm realizing, I think I want to put my health and well-being higher up on the priority list. And that's not to say to give up a lot of things, but to be more mindful about how I need to keep myself grounded, keep myself healthy, because I have young children. I'm responsible to my family, I'm responsible to my students, and I want to keep singing good, and I want to keep a sharp mind. And like most wahine, we get the ups and the downs, whether it's in our physical health or emotional health. And so having, I guess, the sense or the urgency to take a good look, to assess and to reassess, like, okay, how do I want to feel most of the time? So yeah, just being aware and taking that step to say, all right, I'm gonna take much better care of myself and not have any guilt associated with it.
Ola, guilt-free, y'all.
Guilt-free.
That's the program, self-care, just guilt-free. Can we just, nah, I just joking. No, I love that, mahalo. And
it's a work in progress, though. I mean, it's not like the destination.
I thought you were 38.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I was like, no, cannot be.
Mid-40s.
Oh, wow. Well, whatever you're doing, I need to start doing now. Well, that's amazing, and I think that draws a lot of parallels too, because I heard you say physical health, emotional health as well, and I think the one great 1, 2, 3s about really health-wise is like people really forget about your wailua and your spiritual health, because sometimes when one is off, it'll start to affect the others, and the domino it's a cycle. Sometimes can be vicious and a lot of times confusing to deal with. So that's beautiful that you're on it.
I'm trying. I do have great examples in our own community to see, wow, she's so strong. How does she carry all these different kuleana in our community? How does she raise such a beautiful family? How do they get to all their appointments on time?
That's what I think about you. I was like, how do you have
sometimes it's just a mirage,
my mom said that in a song once, like you put on this facade that people see, and I mean, just to have opportunities like this to really kuka about real things, I think that's also why I started Tiny Kuahu, is because like you, like my mom, check her out, hello, here, just put a plug. Ku'ule, Kavikana Pereira, check her out, Maliola. Iini Kahakalau, I think she's on Kuka, I forget the website, but you'll know this barrier where you still need to protect your inner self, but also you have to let your other self, your outer self, out to the community, because it does truly inspire people like me, Kekai, or your own students and your keiki. But also, what does that say about your health, like your physical, your spiritual, and even your mental health? And what does that say for like your relationship to your ohana, or to your aloha, or to your colleagues? So mahalo. So to hear that you're still going through those steps. Like, it's a actual progress. You're not completely there yet, but you're getting it.
We're getting there. And
Yeah.
I think that's, it'll always be that way. We might have a day where we feel, oh, I'm all good. Everything's in balance. Everything is in tune. Kids are listening. Students turning in their hobby on time. My gig is still booked. We're gonna get paid. You know, all these on the main compartments of my world. If one thing gets thrown off balance, it will definitely affect. I mean, that's just part of the makeup, you know. And so, like how you said about, you know, oh, is he famous? When, like, no, that's just my kuleana. And that's kind of one of the things we deal with, not kaulana, to say that we are kaulana, but we are faces in the front lines of our community. And so the work we do is super important. We are leading, we are providing examples, and we have this work ethic and sense of kuleana that we have to get things done. And we have to overexert at times. We have to give our all, overextend. We have to do that as required sometimes. And then the balance part is to be able to get to a place where you can just be. You can just ho'oku'u. You can just be in your t-shirt and your sweatpants or your pareo. Your house can be messy. You know, I mean, you're gonna eat cereal for the next 4 days instead of complete meals, you know. So that's, to me, that's the balancing part. And now at my age, I can definitely feel, or my body starts to tell me, oh no, girl, you're done. Shut down. You know, especially if we give our all to something, like if we're organizing Tiny Kuahu, if we are running the ceremony on the mauna, if I'm producing a concert, or, you know, like, we gotta give every part of us. And then to allow ourselves guilt-free, okay, I'm not gonna brush my hair tomorrow. I'm gonna be up in a bun.
Or my teeth.
Yes. And just be ho'oku'u, you know, nothing heavy. I think that's something we probably could include a little bit more than until the crash comes. Like, we can just designate. And part of my strategy is to book it like a meeting. Because you know us in meetings, right? We book it. I have a halavai. It just kind of trumps everything
it's on
else.
the schedule,
on the schedule.
Yes.
So part of that,
Oh, that's smart. I should try that.
you could try. I mean, you'll see if you can treat it as priority, but that's one way that I try to, you know, make time.
You guys, this is Gochi giving you a prescription. Put it in your calendar, because if it's not there, it's not gonna happen.
If your calendar is your God, you know.
Yeah, you know,
For some of us, the calendar is
it's
the
an
God,
American God to social media.
So I'm going to sing this song, Kiholo, and it's a song that I wrote at Kiholo at the residence of the Hind Ohana. And what is cool about this song is that it was put together as a lesson for my Haku Mele class here at Kahakaula o Kealikolani. And so I said, okay, but near the end of the semester, our big goal is to go create mele, have a weekend to create mele. But in order to create mele, we need inspiration, we need fun stuff to do. So we went beach, nice beautiful beach, great weather, elements were animated that weekend. And it wasn't just for the students, it was actually for the kumu and my fellow, my colleagues as well. And so this was my humble contribution, and then I decided to record it on my brand new CD called Waipunalei. And I look at this song of Kiholo being of high inspiration because, you know, when we go camping, when we go beach, I mean, it's really a place of rejuvenation. It's a place of happiness, and to spend time with family, friends, and haumana. I tried to encapsulate all of that into a short mele. So let's go to Kona, let's go Kiholo, and let's go enjoy. Kiholo, I kamalu ki ave, kai malino, a o kona, kai ne, I ka ili ili, I ka ehu, ka kahiaka. Kiholo, I kamalu ki ave, kai malino, a o kona, kai ne, I ka ili ili, I ka ehu, ka kahiaka. Lei mommy, o ke aloha, ka onohi, o hualalai, hualai, ka noho na haina, me ka home, kumehana I ka aekai. Lei momi, o ke aloha, ka onohi, o hualalai, hualai, ka noho na haina, me ka home, kumehana I ka aekai. Puana, ke aloha no ka laiho, holu holu, ke ohola umilo, nahe nahe, ka leo hone ana manu, Kiholo, I ka malu ki ave. Puana, ke aloha no ka laiho, holu holu, ke ohola umilo, nahe nahe, ka leo hone ana manu, Kiholo, I ka malu ki ave. Kiholo, I ka malu ki ave. Kiholo, I ka malu, o ke kiawe. Mahalo. So that song came from Kona, and you know, the ocean is one of our primary healing places. When I was growing up, whenever we got sick, we have to go in the ocean first thing. It's also a way to help let go of our troubles and our stresses, to lighten the load. It's the only place where the kids can carry me. Yeah, in the kai. Other than that, forget it.
I mean, you ain't carried them for how many years and
Yeah.
months? The least they can do. Mahalo.
Beach days, you gotta put them in your calendar.
I love that song. When you say, I was like, oh my God, I'm fangirling. Oh, mahalo. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna mix up this tiny kuahu a little bit. We originally we were together during Pepenuwali, which is the Mahina Olelo Hawaii. But listen, Olelo shouldn't be constricted to a month. Every month, every day should be La Olelo Hawaii, coming from the one who needs the practice. Okay? So, he mea o ko'a ke ia no ke ia hanana. E mai ka'u fellow host, I don't know what that is, ma kolalo. But e no ka'u hoaloha e nina wele ana nani I kanina. Okay, hit
Mahalo.
it. Kalamai.
Aloha mai mo Kainani.
Ai, aloha ke kai.
Ua launa kaua ma o ke kula o wau kona haumana ma ka papa. Ano leila he pilina o ko'a ka maua ma waho aku o ka olua pilina e ano nae. Mamake wau e ninau ia oi. He aha na mahele e ola pono wai ka nohona. Ke kau like paha o ke kino, ka uhane, ka pili uhane. He aha na mea e ola pono ai ko nohona.
O ia ho'i ka mau mea I helu ai o ka no'o pono, ka uhane, a me ke ola o ke kino. Ma mua, ua ka'awale, I ko'u mana'o, I ko'u ola ana, ua ano ka'awale ke ia mau mea. No ke ola o ke kino, ua pili paha I ka pauna, I ka nana ana, a ole paha I maka'ala nui I ke ano o na mea ai e ola mai ka ia I ke kino. Yeah. Na laila, oia paha ka mea o ke lala ke ia la. He aha ka ue ai ana, a ole ike o ke ai ke ia, ke la ano no. No ka au pili uhane, maka la pule wale no paha ke la. Ma ko'u ohana, ele I ka pule I ke la me ke ia la pule. O ko'u kupuna, ke kahu o ka ekalesia, lo'a na kuleana o ka ohana e kokua. Na laila, oia ka au pili uhane I ano ahu wale ia'u. Iliwane, ele I ka pule. Yeah. Oia ke la ano. O ka no'o ke kahi mea nui, ua ka'awale ke la ke kahi. Yeah. O ka no'o, mahalo wau I ko'u mau kupuna. Nā ko'u mau kupuna I hanai mai ia'u anui. No laila, ua ike au I ka ho'olohe I ke kupuna ho'olohe I ka makua a ole ninau nui ho'olohe haliu. No laila, o keia mea o ka no'o pono, o ke aloha ke kahi I ke kahi, ka mea I laha, I waena o mākou. Ma ka ohana lo'a no ka wā pilikia paha, lo'a ka wā hau'oli. Aka no ka no'o, o ka mea nui, e mālama I ka pilina me ka ohana, a me kou no'o, I nā la amhau. Yeah. No laila, I ko'u mana'o, I nā, ua hiki, o iai, ua ike au I ke ia manawa. Pono e loa'a ke la mau mea āpau, no ho'i, no ke ia mea o ke ola pono. Yeah, no ka mauli, no ka no'ono'o, oiai ke o'onei, ke ia wahine, ike au, a'ole no like ko'u eleu i ka no'ono'o, e like me ko'u wā o ka pae i wakalua o ka wā u'i, ike au i ka oko'a. Eia na'e, ua hiki no ke ho'ikaika ia ka no'ono'o. Ma'o, ka 'ai 'ana i ka mea 'ai kūpono, a me ka ho'ola 'ana i ke kino, ka lava 'ana o ka moe pono 'ana i kēla me kēia pō, a me ka helu mau, ai 'ole ka hana i ka ho'ohana 'ana i kēia mea o ka no'ono'o no ka ho'ikaika 'ana i ke ola oko'a. Oi ka pahu hopu. A laila, ma ka pōkole, ma mua ua ka awale kēla mau mea. I kēia manawa, ike au pono e kaulike. He hana pa'akiki kēla. Mauno ko'u ho'ikaika 'ana.
Ai, oia ka no'ono'o ma'amau. Okay, keia pule ho'oikaika. Okay, keia pule 'ai pono. A'ole paha kākou ike pono e like nā mea āpau e lo'a kia mahele piha o ka nohono pono. Pea ka manawa?
Hola.
Sure.
Ai, mahalo.
Ai? Ninau? Ho'o mau hou?
Ai.
He eia kekahi ninau mai ka po'e nānā, pēhea oe e ho'opau i nā mana'o aloha hia, a'ole e ho'i hou mai.
Oh.
E ninau pa'akiki keia.
Ai, no ka aloha hia, ho. O yaku ka nui o ka aloha hia i kēla me kēia makahiki. He mea ma'a mau kēla kekahi. Ina he kanaka awamo kuleana oe, o ka aloha hia kekahi au o ia hana. Lo'a no. No leila, o keia aloha hia, pehea la e ho'oku'u ai. Pehea la e ho'emi ai i keia mea o ka aloha hia. O kekahi hana ahu, oia ho'i ka ho'okani. Oia ka himeni, a me ka launa ana me na ho'aloha. He au ko'i loa kēla ma ko'u no'ona. No laila, ma keia wā o ka e laha nei ka ma'i ahulau, ua papa ia a ole kākou launa nui, ho'oka'awale, noho ho'omalu, oia ka mea pa'akiki. Aka, ua lo'a ku'u ohana. Ka ua emi mai paha ka ho'omanawa nui o lako ia'u. No ka mea, ua pa'a mako i loko ka hale, o maka pa'a hale. No laila, o ke mele, ku'u himeni ana, ku'u ho'okani, ka haku ana, aka o ka himeni pū me ka'u ohana, kekahi mea i emi ai kēla aloha hia. No laila, i ka ho'i ana i ke kula, o ke a'o ana i nā 'ene hana hou, no ke a'o ana oia kekahi mea aloha hia, no ka mea he mea hou kēla, pono e ho'ea i ka papa, a'o, me ka mana'o lana, e apo ana na haumana i kou mana'o. No laila, mana hana like ole, he mea loa'a, keia mea o ka aloha hia. Aka, o ka imi ana i ala e emi maika'i ai, kēla aloha hia he mea nui kēla. A ole paha hana i nā mea e pilikia ai ke kino. Aino i ka ohana he kako'o. I nā lo'a ka po'e kako'o, maika'i. Ka i nā noho meha pa'akiki.
Mahalo no kau wehewehe ana mai no ka launa kanaka a me ka launa ohana i ko'u mana'o he mahele vai kēla o ka nohona pono kekahi. O ka hapa nui ka manawa no'ono o kākou kēla mana'o self-care no uiho. A ka hiki ke hana ke la me na hoa me ke kahi kanaka e a ole no ke kahi mau poe he mai kai ka pe'e no oho kahi ana a ke kahi poe ola I ke la mau wahi nui na kanaka pono e launa me na kanaka he mahele vai ke la o ka nohona pono I ko mana o mahalo no ko ka ana mai ke la ike.
Mahalo nui. Ai. Ina ua ho'omaka wau I ke ia kuana ike ma ko'u waha ui. O iaku paha ka maika'i o ko'u ola kino I ke ia manawa. Ka ua hana, ua ike au I ke ia mea o ka balance ho'i he mea nui a ko'i I ke ia wa. Ka pela ka nohona. No ke kai mau haawina pa'akoke. No ke kai mau haawina aino ke imi nei I ka ha'ina. Mahalo.
Hola.
Okay. Hola. Oh my goodness. One of the things that has enhanced my self-care, I love saying that word. It's self-care, but it's not selfish. It's, things that will help better the mental health, the emotional health, the physical health. And having mele present in my daily life is such a big part of my happiness. And so when I think about the happiness of my kamali'i, of my keiki, of my ohana, I'm glad that a lot of it comes from playing music together, experiencing music together, whether in composition, in jamming kanikapila, in creating music, or even just listening to music, even if it's on the radio. I mean, just experiencing music. You know, my co-mom over here, like whenever we gig together, I say, oh, we have a mommy gig, because I'm like, yes, we can just show up by ourselves. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the kids come to our gigs, but like it's like, ooh, you and I, we get this gig. Okay, we go. Oh, it's in Waikoloa. Oh, shoot. You know, oh, it's at the Palace. You know, so even just having, work can still be a form of self-care because of the kind of work we're doing.
This is great.
And so I'd like to share with you this one song that helped me and my friends get plenty gigs in Hilo. And it was a song that comes from Maui. It's a song called Standing in the Rain. And this was the song that got us gigs at all the weddings in Hilo, well, all around this island. And we played it at every birthday party, graduation party, every Thursday and Friday at Cronies. And we recorded it as well. But when I think about this song, I think of it as like another inspirational piece that helped to help me get more involved in music. And so it was also the tool that helped me meet a lot of the Big Island community, right? I mean, when we gig in the sports bars, we see all the different facets of the community. When we go to all the different parties around the island, we get to see maybe the Paniolo community, we get to see the hula community. As musicians, we get to, I don't want to say infiltrate, but we get to be a part of the various communities of our island. And so I'll sing this song, and I'm going to reminisce about all the people we've met who wanted to have this song sung, especially as their wedding song or as their grand entrance song. And even at the funerals. Yeah. Because that's part of the cycle of life, right? As musicians, we are there for all the occasions. And so, you know, singing at the funerals is one of my favorite places to play because we know that we are helping everybody deal with what they're dealing with. So it's not a concert though, it's helping the healing. Yeah? Okay, so
Okay.
Standing in the Rain. This song was written by Francois Kahale, and this song was originally recorded by Kula. Should I scold you, tease you, let me squeeze you, hold me, please me, say you need me? Why should you be standing in the rain? In the twilight tonight, hold me real tight, don't say goodbye, whisper good night. I won't leave you standing in the rain. Hold tight, whisper softly, tell me what it feels like when you're all alone. All night, little darling, my arms will be the place you call home. Should I scold you, tease you, let me squeeze you, hold me, please me, say you need me? Why should you be standing in the rain? In the twilight tonight, hold me real tight, don't say goodbye, whisper good night. I won't leave you standing in the rain. 'Cause your eyes tell me something that you've never let me know before. Outside, it's been pouring, why don't you step inside and close the door? Should I scold you, tease you, let me squeeze you, hold me, please me, say you need me? Why should you be standing in the rain? In the twilight tonight, hold me real tight, don't say goodbye, whisper good night. I won't leave you standing in the rain. I won't leave you standing in the rain. I won't leave you standing in the rain.
Chew. Ew. What's up?
Standing in the rain.
Okay, Leah. Okay, so sorry to take a turn. It's because it's such a lovely song, but also kind of very endearing and heartfelt and very rom-com. I live for it. But we're gonna continue on the subject of self-care. So I'm gonna share first real fast. we're going to talk more specifically on the present, especially with what's happening in the world right now, whether it be community-based, I don't know, politics, especially the biggest one, COVID. So the pandemic has hit all of us, especially at different capacities, in different ways, different levels. And for me, I had this, I'm glad you chose self-care because I had this moment during when lockdown happened. I found myself sitting on just like a whole stack of just internalized narrative that I've been suppressing. So in turn, I was ignoring my mental health. And back in 2000, I think was 15, when I was diagnosed with clinical depression and what they call persistent depression and hyperanxiety. So it just basically means like the way you process things is a little bit off and a little bit different. So not all your wires are in the right puka. Let's just say it like that. So your HDMI cord is not hooked up to your TV. I was really struggling with self-love overall, especially with care, because with care comes love. When you're going through something that you've been sitting on for years and you haven't faced, or especially head on, and you haven't been able to give it time to deal and really sift through what is happening, what is the me thing and what is the outer thing. When you don't have that opportunity, it'll come out. It'll project itself in ways, whether it be, it'll manifest through your actions, through your words. So with that said, I really wanted to share that story because, not that you have to divulge your whole business, but for people out there like me who have gone through the same thing, especially during COVID, to want to be okay again. Be willing to want to learn, be willing to want to ask for help and talk to people and reach out to people. Like this, if I wasn't doing this here, talking, having conversation with people that I look up to, then I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Because this keeps me here on this plane. And this keeps me grounded. So I look to that and I look to people like this. So the question is, was there something that you experienced during the length of COVID, which we're still kind of going through, mask up, please be safe, that kind of triggered the self-care button?
I think one of the initial things that the pandemic brought into my home was this feeling of uncertainty and not really knowing what we're gonna do, how we're gonna work, how we're gonna survive. I mean, that kind of panic mode, because there wasn't much known and we didn't know anybody at the time who had gotten the COVID. And we were so in fear, like if we knew somebody that had it, they were gonna die. Like it was like so spooky. And then it as a mom, I had to figure out, like, what am I willing to do or to not do to try and maintain my sanity? Because having 3 children in the house, everybody needs mom, everybody needs each other, but we're like cabin fever. I think that was one of the things, like, okay, how am I gonna manage my family? I was also having a lot of emotional instability in my world at the beginning, well, especially in the beginning of the pandemic. And so one of the ways that I knew I had to cope or had to reach out was through talking about it with my friends. And so I'm very grateful for this thing called a cell phone. And because had we not had the ability to communicate with people outside of our house, I think I would have been in a lot more trouble, or in a worse off space. And so I'm grateful I get some really close, good friends that will pick up at any time and who can just let me vent, or who will just listen, or who will say things at the right time to help me along. And I am not someone who blasts my business on the social media, but I know that it is one outlet. And if I'm gonna put something out there, it'll probably be Mele related. But when we're in our private, in our home and in our personal space, if I didn't have access to my dear friends, my support system, my frontline, my besties, all those kinds of friends, I would, I don't know if we would be looking good and sharp and singing good today, So I have experienced that kind of imbalance, that emotional imbalance, and that's part of the drill, I think, of the cycle of life. You get the great times, you get the not so good times, you get the really terrible times, and I think that helps with the grit that we need to have as leaders, but just as Kanaka, like, we have to handle things. And I did call up, I did seek help at a therapist as well, and I wish that for everybody. I mean, best friends, you have your best friends, your best auntie, your best cousins, but I also believe, because I've experienced it, that having a therapist is awesome, and because you can really say what you want, and have some feedback that is unbiased and not judgmental. And I just, for my own self, I was like, oh, can I come every week? But having a good therapist is key as well. I mean, I was lucky. The first one I went to was the one, and so I wish that for my fellow moms. I wish that for the dads. I wish that for the friends. I mean, without any stigma attached. I know therapists personally, like, they're my friends as well. But I don't go to them, but I go to the other one who can be unbiased, But it's like a freeing thing. Like, you feel so much better. I mean, you could have a heavy thing to drop in your session, or you can just say, how you want some snacks, just to have that time. And so I think that is something that I'd like to encourage all of you. If you have access, I think you should try it, and even get the OPO in there too, because a lot of times, if they're trained to not express their feelings, or if we don't acknowledge the expressions of their trials, their tribulations, their feelings, then we miss the opportunity to try and help them. And so I don't see the shame in going for that kind of help. I'm like, line them up, I'll drop them off, I pick them up, because I really believe it's healthy. And not having that shame associated, it's like a friend, but you really don't gotta worry. They're not gonna tell anybody, for real.
It's their literal job to listen and assess what's happening with you. And again, I kakō 100% with my therapist or / psychiatrist. Different labels, same job, but
and it's in your calendar, so you're gonna go.
You gotta go.
So
no, I was going every week, and she was like, you can come every other. I was like, oh, wow. Emma, same question.
Okay, well, Kainani pretty much covered what I was gonna say. So being the full-time mommy, my husband is always working, so it's always me. I'm the, kids, everything. But during COVID, husband didn't have to go to work as much. So I had like some time, but not really, because he still had to learn. So we have a son. He's on the autism spectrum, so routine is key for him. Yeah. And so my worry was like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna turn our world upside down. Yeah, like we're gonna have to deal with this. And then I have a teenager. She's 14 and my son is 6. That's a kind of a big age gap. But yeah, so we had to make it work. And then what I did do was join Hello. So it's twice a week. So that was kind of my self-care, that I had time away. We have a studio, so it was separate from the house over Zoom. So that was my self-care. And then I have friends like Kainani, checking in. And sometimes we would get together, although, no posting on social media because you're going to be judged, yeah. But, that did help. The kids had time, to play with each other. And we also got my daughter into therapy because we saw that she really needed it. Because sometimes we overlook our keiki, yeah, and just seemed like she was not having it. She was having a hard time because we're only home. And brother comes kind of first, I guess you would say, in our lives. We got to take care of his needs so that the whole house runs smoothly. But now that she's been in therapy, it's been great. So I do recommend it, like 100%. I need to get myself in, I think, now.
Mahalo. So again, we're not over here for tell you go therapy if you feel crazy. If you need it, don't be afraid. Don't be shamed. There's a really big stigma. I wanted to touch on this before we go on to the next song. That was a really good mahalo no ka ho'olauna and ho'olaha'ana. There's a terrible stigma that comes, especially in local Hawaii communities, where we don't talk about things and we don't say certain things and we don't acknowledge that there is a problem. So sometimes that can have a negative effect or repercussion. And there's other things like, we don't talk about certain things like mental or physical abuse towards children, because maybe that's how you used to be disciplined. But also, that has repercussions when generation after generation it happens to them. We have to talk about it in order to break those cycles so we can all focus on positive things like actual real life self-care and brushing teeth and brushing hair. Okay, mahalo.
There is a lot of heaviness, in our community, and this COVID thing has brought out so many junk stuff, and it has also brought out some good. And for my own uncertainty, my own nervousness, figuring out life, the mele is central in my house. So I know that is a go-to medicine as well. And so in this last mele, I would like to sing this song as a message of ho'olana, of hope. And it's a song I wrote for Mauna Kea, which is our steadfast land feature. That's our kupuna. It's there. We feel the mana. And this song is called Aloha Aina o Ia'i'o. And it's a song that I've sung on Mauna Kea a couple times, mostly Makai area. But I'd like to thank Kawila and Kekai. Mahalo for the invitation to join in our efforts to help our lahui in health, in mental health, in spiritual health, in emotional health, and just be there for each other. So mahalo for all your hard work. Mahalo, Emma, for our therapy right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we go. Aloha aina o Ia'i'o. E velo mau no ku'uaina o Hawaii, oni a pa'a me ka lokahi, aloha aina o ia'i o, aloha aina o ia'i o. Huli a mahi e ku'ulahui i ka poli o mauna kea mai o a o apuni ka honua kupa a mau e na Hawaii kupa a mau e na Hawaii e velo mau no ku'aloha no ku'uaina o Hawaii, oni a pa'a me ka lokahi, aloha aina o ia'i o, aloha aina o ia'i o. Huli a mahi e ku'ulahui i ka poli o mauna kea mai o a o apuni ka honua kupa a mau e na Hawaii kupa a mau e na Hawaii i ola e na kini i ola e na kini Ola nui kako a pau. Aloha.
Hola. Yeah, mahalo. So that concludes the session. Yay! Mahalo Emma, mahalo Kainani, like for real, guys. Especially mahalo ya Kainani for sharing and really opening up to our community, because just like me, you, there's somebody out there like you who needs to hear stories like this, who'll be like, I look up to this woman and they go through the same thing. So that's really what it's all about. So mahalo kako, and stay safe and enjoy yourselves. Hui hou. Hello.